Hello, fellow citizens. It is I, your esteemed president of this German Empire. Now, I would like to make a brief statement to the mass. The presidency has been secured and is to be safe and in good hands until the next election cycle comes up. And I'm here to tell you that the democratic cycle and the democratic processes are being safeguarded as we speak. They are being kept safe, and everything next election will go smoothly, as assured by many other branches in the empire. Now, I open to the interviewee for any questions that they may have.
Yes, sir. I kind of wanted to know if you had seen a document stating that you didn't really do very much work, that you didn't work hard, that you didn't represent the people of the German Empire. Is there anything you have to say, and did you see that document yourself?
I have, and I would like to clarify for those who are watching. These statements are based on a lot of displeased action or supposed inaction. However, they fail to recognize that I have acted within my purview. I have appointed people to the Supreme Court. I've appointed people to the district level. I've appointed people to the military district level. I have done my job in that sector. I have opened up my financial plan, which I have been trying to keep tabs on for a little bit now, the financial plan that I had started at the very beginning of my tenure. And what the other part is the chief diplomat. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. Chief diplomat is someone who goes to other countries, meets with other heads of states, and makes sure that the bond and relationship of the German Empire is thriving and shall do better for the future and for whoever successes the position. Now, that also can be applied to diplomatic terms within, interfactional, interbranches, things that go on that may be a dispute, because I've solved quite a few disputes throughout my tenure, and that is a fact. And I believe that these instances have been foreshadowed by other disputes, by conflicts of mass chaos, which I don't believe is very good. And we can all agree that some of these actions have been terrible. The Reichstag fire was completely horrendous, and I believe if the interviewer can agree, that was a very troubling time for everybody. And in the midst of everything, everyone came together. Everyone came together and rose to the occasion, even when this very building had caught on fire. Even when people thought that the process that this building held was gone. And I reiterated and I reestablished it, that the government was still around, we were still operating, everything was to be okay. But unfortunately, these times have really restricted the way the government operates. And I understand that there's a lot of disputes, there's a lot of discourse within other factions.
Yes, there is. In that document, they said we received a ghost instead of a president. They also said that you sold your soul to the crown that you once criticized. You traded principle for position and bent the knee to stay seated.
So my question to you is, in all of my documents, I have supported unwaveringly my loyalty to the crown that is the emperor. And I've always stated, instead of saying the federal government, I have always said His Majesty's government. Now, right there is the job that I am fitting. I am in charge of His Majesty's government. I'm here to execute the willful duties of my office. Now, if that is a problem, then why are we questioning? Why are we questioning the Crown's authority in this? Why are we questioning the Crown to begin with? Because, quite frankly, this is outrageous. Making that simple statement about criticizing the Crown is completely false. I've even sent progress reports to the Crown. So my support for the communication between His Majesty and his government is what I had been striving for throughout the entirety of my tenure. And it makes absolutely no sense why anything had to be mentioned. Now, bending a knee is not even close to what I did. I always try to be very diplomatic in these times of crises, but bending the knee is not what I've done. I've tried to make compromise. I've tried to make compromise after compromise to ensure that discourse does not flow and does not become a habit of everyday life of German society. And I must say, if being a ghost means holding a stable, a peaceful, and diplomatic mindset, then a ghost I shall be. But a spirit, if we want to put it in their terms, a poltergeist, a spirit of chaos and ruin and destruction and mischief, that is not what you want running your democratic processes. That is not what you need. That is not in the description for this job. And I believe if people read what the Crown mandate had instated into this job, I can firmly state that diplomacy is huge in the title of this job, which I have upheld fully. Now, people can critique all they want. That's the will of the people. I can take critique. But this is my rebuttal. Diplomacy is always a good option. Now, I am no soldier. I am not an officer of the law. So I do not understand fully the livelihood that these gentlemen face, but I've always respected them to the highest degree. And I've always supported their way of life, the way they do things, because I support every citizen of the Empire. Now, you yourself, Mr. McCracken, have done how many press briefings and statements of mine thus far?
I've lost count, sir.
And if I can recall, it is also stated that I am to keep the public aware of the government processes and provide the transparency needed for the people to know what the government is up to.
Yes, sir.
And would you say that that alone has been fulfilled, or let's just say over fulfilled?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you've done a great job with that.
So therefore, if I had not been keeping up with the transparency of the government, wouldn't that mean that there were things happening, that things were in the works, that I had actually made the efforts to speak to the British with the foreign minister, to open that channel and to send a statement to them regarding what they had said to us? Because that is what happened. I've been very open about my presidency. Now, if people would like to foreshadow all that I have done, that is their prerogative. But I say to you, peace shall prevail. At some point, war will be over, and there will be peace. Victory in this country, regardless if I am in office or not, this country will prevail. And I will ensure that the processes are upheld to the fullest extent, no matter what. Did you have any other questions, Mr. McCracken? Any other thoughts that you had? Or any last thoughts that you...
I have one more. Sorry. I would
Absolutely.
like to know, do you have any plans for after your presidency? What do you plan on doing?
So, at this very moment, the thought of re-election has entered my mind. However, I need to discuss with possible running mates, if that were to be, or if I was to possibly give my formal endorsement to another, I would say, a brilliant candidate that would carry this country in a greater and move my administration on and move on the peace, the diplomacy, the goodwill toward men. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
To carry on the goodwill.
Well, thank you, sir.
Now-
That's all I've got. Is there anything else you'd like to mention? Or is that it?
So, I would like to leave the listeners with one last thing. I know I've spoken a lot. In my briefings, I ramble and I go on. But these lectures, these words that I speak to you, it's the passion that I have for my country. As any statesman, soldier, or officer. Any person who really loves their country will do anything for it. And provide every means necessary to make sure that stability and solidarity is at the highest priority. And that has been one of my greatest honors and greatest privileges of seeing in most moments. Even though there may have been tough times, we have seen some very, very rough times. We have prevailed, nonetheless. And I say to you, citizens of the Empire, do not let your motivation falter. Don't let your dreams die. Do what you will. Be a citizen. Go out and vote. Join the military. Join the police force. Join the workforce. Be a functioning member of society. And I tell you, the country will return the favor to you tenfold, as it has done to me, to Mr. McCracken, to my PSD, to every other individual that has done a service to the Empire and to the Emperor. Will be repaid back in full, because it is a privilege and honor to serve this very Empire. Thank you. God bless the German Empire, and God bless the Emperor, Hendrik Baumer. Ave.